On Monday, April 8th, 2024, the weather took a shocking turn as the American continent went dark in broad daylight for 4 whole minutes. But what really happened? Why did day turn to night? It is called a total solar eclipse, a very rare but equally captivating astronomical event. For a brief moment, the moon passed directly between the burning sun and the Earth, casting a shadow over our planet. The temporary moment of darkness was pretty special, because this time around, the moon was closer to the Earth than usual, resulting in an apparent diameter larger than usual. So that's why it lasted for as long as 4 minutes and 28 seconds. North America, including Mexico, the United States, and Canada, hosted at least 70 million tourists, in addition to the 32 million people already living in these areas, who travelled down just to witness this incredible moment. The North American sky will never forget this rare and breathtaking display of nature's power and beauty. Whether you are a seasoned astronomer or just an inquisitive observer, this celestial miracle will have you in awe. The last eclipse that happened in 2017 couldn't stand a chance when placed side by side with this 2024 eclipse in terms of excitement and duration. This eclipse spanned from the Pacific to the Atlantic and lasted almost 2 minutes more on average. The April 2024 eclipse might be one of the most widely observed astronomical events in history, captivating its audience with its grandeur and beauty. But hold on for a bit, just a moment. Before we start exploring the crucial details of this solar eclipse, let's quickly establish a basic understanding of the astronomical concept behind all of this. What's a solar eclipse, and what makes it special? As we shared earlier, a solar eclipse is a rare situation when the moon passes directly between the Earth and the Sun. It could either be partial or full. What we had this April was full, completely obscuring the solar disk. Now, the solar eclipse doesn't just happen randomly, it only happens when the moon crosses paths with the sun, to be more specific, during the new moon phase. And under a very stringent geometric condition, all 3 celestial bodies, the sun, moon and earth, must align almost perfectly, if not perfectly. Unfortunately, this alignment can only happen when the moon is in conjunction with the sun and is in close proximity to a node of its orbit around the Earth. Now, you might be wondering, since the moon's orbit is perfectly aligned with the ecliptic, the plane on which the Earth orbits the sun, a total solar eclipse should occur every month during every full moon. Well, it doesn't really work that way. The moon's orbit is slightly inclined at an angle relative to the ecliptic, so it doesn't perfectly align with the Earth and the Sun. So, during conjunction, the Moon, just like you can see from Earth, crossed either north or south of the solar disk. The precise alignment of the Moon passing through the intersection points of the Earth and Sun's orbital planes is very intricate in this process. The shadow cone cast by the Sun's light on the Moon will touch the Earth's surface, initializing the captivating phenomenon of an eclipse if only these conditions are met. This is why solar eclipses are a rare and fascinating phenomenon. The shadow cone can be as long as 367,300 to 379,800 kilometers, because the Earth's orbital eccentricity is usually shorter than the average Earth-Moon distance of 384,400 kilometers. So, the shadow of the moon only reaches Earth's surface if the moon is near perigee, its closest point to Earth. If not, the shadow will be too short and instead we'll have an annular eclipse instead of a total eclipse. Basically, the part of the shadow cone that grazes the Earth's surface is larger when the moon-sun distance is greater and the Earth-moon distance is shorter. And that's exactly what happened on Monday, April 8th, 2024. The eclipse coincided with the moon's perigee, increasing its apparent diameter by 5.5% more than usual. This is very, very rare. Even when we have the most favourable conditions, the diameter of the shadow cone is never more than 267 kilometers, averaging 120 kilometers, while the penumbra, which indicates the areas of partial eclipse, usually stretches at an average of 6,400 kilometers. As we explained earlier, the width of the shadow has a direct impact on the duration of the eclipse, which is hardly ever longer than 7 minutes, further increasing the rarity of this celestial spectacle. The Earth and Moon cast a shadow that races across our planet at speeds more than 2,000 kilometers per h. This shadow, called the path of totality, draws a slender arc over the affected regions, which sometimes stretches farther than 15,000 kilometers. Now, at the heart of this spectacle lies the point of greatest eclipse. This is the point where the shadow of the moon lingers the longest. On April 8th, the point of greatest eclipse was Nazas, Mexico. That was where the sun actually disappeared completely for 4 minutes and 28 seconds, painting hues of wonder on our beautiful sky. Nazas had the highest odds of clear skies. It was the envy of every eclipse chaser around the world. The average frequency of a total solar eclipse at any given point on Earth is a staggering 375 years. So, witnessing this event was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience. All year long, on average, 2 to 5 different types of solar eclipses actually happen on Earth. Surprisingly, only 2 eclipses occur annually in 72% of cases. The rarest one, set to last for as long as 7.5 minutes, will happen on July 16th, 2186. But typically, it lasts for only 2-3 minutes. According to astrologers and space scientists, in the first 4,000 years of the Earth's existence, only 33 total eclipses will exceed the 7-minute mark. However, if we're talking about the entirety of a solar eclipse, including the partial phases, they can actually extend for more than 4 hours. In fact, the longest we've had so far was 4.44 hours, the annular eclipse on December 14th, 1955. Alright, now, back to the solar eclipse of April 8th, 2024. It actually started from the southern Pacific Ocean before it travelled down to Mexico, the heart, and then it went all the way down to the United States. The eclipse then traversed states such as Maine, Oklahoma, Ohio, Arkansas, Kentucky, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Pennsylvania, New York, Hampshire, Vermont, and even all the way down into smaller regions like Michigan and Tennessee. After crossing the southern Pacific Ocean, the solar eclipse journeyed to Canada, southern Ontario, to be specific. Then, it travelled across Quebec, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, and Cape Breton. In the United States, specifically in Texas, the totality of the eclipse began in Texas at 13:27 CDT, Central Daylight Time, and ended in Maine at 15:35 EDT, Eastern Daylight Time. Now, if you aren't residing anywhere within the path of totality, you must probably be wondering where the best place to view the eclipse is. The answer is Mexico. The moon's shadow made its first contact with the Pacific coast near Mazatlan and along the central line. The totality lasted up to 4 minutes and 20 seconds. If you happen to be at Mazatlan, a beach city in northwestern Mexico, that day you'll have had an exceptional view of the Great American Eclipse. Little wonder why the local astronomical society had approximately 10 observation stations right on the shoreline facing the Pacific. Astronomers had special glasses for safely viewing the eclipse distributed at each station, and their telescopes were available to have the best experience, making it truly unforgettable. The second best viewing spot was Texas. Moving as fast as 1,800 kilometers per hour, the shadow glided into Texas from Mexico. In Dallas, the total eclipse commenced at 13:40 CDT. Cities like San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and Fort Worth were the hotspots for eclipse enthusiasts and tourists because of its abundant hotel accommodations. extensive highway network, and favourable weather conditions, with easy access to clear skies. The totality lasted an impressive 4 minutes and 13 seconds in Waco, Texas, and the city even hosted the Eclipse over Texas 2024 event, featuring family-friendly entertainment, educational activities, food trucks, and of course, telescopes. Now, this historic event, visible from space, was not only remarkable for its lengthy totality and rarity, but also for the strange phenomena that accompanied it. Let's talk about some peculiar sights we observed during the eclipse. Firstly, we saw a new object in our solar system. A newly discovered solar system object, 2022 AP7, made its closest approach to Earth during the eclipse. It was a small, icy body centaur, the type of object that orbits between Neptune and Jupiter. Although we couldn't get a clear glimpse of it in the heat of the eclipse, its presence sprinkled another layer of intrigue to the cosmic event. Also, we noticed some mysterious red dots. Thousands of sky gazers noticed some peculiar red dots scattered around the sun during the eclipse. These dots were later identified as plasma plumes. Although many people assumed these dots were caused to appear by solar flares, experts clarified that these were in fact solar prominences, large plasma structures that remain attached to the sun for weeks. Another interesting thing we noticed was a new comet's brief life. One of the most surprising discoveries that we made during the eclipse was this tiny sun-grazer comet named Soho 5008. It was spotted barely hours before the totality by a young but promising astronomer. Space scientists predicted that this comet might eventually become visible during the eclipse, and space photographers quickly captured some decent, although blurry, images of it hurtling towards the sun. Sadly, the comet disintegrated a few hours after the eclipse because it got too close to our home star. We also had a very unexpected solar activity lull. In the moments leading up to the eclipse, the sun was caught up in a surprising lull in solar activity, despite the fact that it was near the peak of the solar cycle. So, basically, those explosive flares that photographers had hopes of capturing during the eclipse were actually very unlikely at the start. Nonetheless, we still got a rare opportunity to peek at the sun's surface and its intriguing plasma structures. During the eclipse, we were also treated to some daytime planetary sightings. Sky gazers were treated to a very rare sight during totality because we were able to spot the stare down at the other planets typically visible only at night. We could see Venus and Jupiter right near the sun, and it was a really cool and unique daytime planetary viewing experience. Thanks to the extended duration of the totality, the chances were widely increased, allowing us to observe these planets and reminding us that they are real. Some eclipse witnesses also reported seeing peculiar lights around the sun, known as Bailey's beads, that appear when the sunlight filters through the moon's rugged edge. Others said that they saw a dazzling diamond ring effect as the moon moved farther away from the sun. It was a truly memorable experience. It was so captivating that there was a significant drop in internet usage during the eclipse. Everyone was busy staring at the sky. A network services and cybersecurity company named Cloudflare even recorded an 8% drop in internet activity across the United States alone during the eclipse. Some states in the US had declines that were as dramatic as 40%, and places like Vermont had a 60% decrease. And animals weren't left out of this experience either. Most birds were found to return to their nests during the eclipse, and crickets started to chirp, thinking that night had fallen. In fact, at the Fort Worth Zoo in Texas, various species, including gorillas, elephants, tortoises, and bonobos, mistook the darkening sky for dusk and retired to their shelter. At the Dallas Zoo, chimpanzees, giraffes, and zebras got very anxious and raced into the shelters and started patrolling. Don't blame them. Even we humans had a lot of mixed reactions. Some people thought it was the end of the world. Some others had a mixture of feelings from fear to anxiety to outright excitement. The eclipse might have passed, but the memory of the event will remain etched in our minds forever. The 2024 solar eclipse lasted over 4 minutes, a very impressive duration for this type of event. However, when we are in the moment, those seconds slip away quickly like grains of sand. We hope you made the most of this experience, especially if it's your first eclipse. The highly anticipated Monday, the 8th of April, total solar eclipse is now a historic event. The shared experience stirred a sense of wonder and curiosity within us all. It was a special opportunity to connect with nature, celebrating science and the beauty of the universe around us. We will never forget that on a particular Monday, as the clock struck 8:58 p.m., April 8th, 2024, the heavens above captivated us with an extraordinary spectacle, a total solar eclipse. However, beyond turning day to night, it opened up a series of unusual occurrences that added a hint of mystique to the event. As the moon momentarily dimmed the sun's radiant light, a sudden chill swept across the surface of the Earth. This cooling effect was very tangible, as if Mother Nature herself was holding her breath, patiently waiting for the celestial dance unfolding before her. This sudden shift in temperature was a strong reminder of the sun's crucial role in keeping the balance of Earth's climate and our ecosystem. Moreover, the eclipse also caused a very fascinating shift in the way we see light. As the sun's brightness faded, our eyes quickly accommodated the new lighting conditions, resulting in a predominance of purple hues. This phenomenon is called the Purkinje effect. This effect is only seen when the eye's rods, responsible for low light vision, experience an increase in sensitivity to blue and green wavelengths, making purple and violet colours appear more prominent. This created a surreal and mesmerizing atmosphere, bathing the Earth in a lavender glow that was totally enchanting and otherworldly. The rapid cooling of the ground beneath us further increased and led to the rapid disappearance of clouds overhead. As the temperature dropped, the air moisture became more condensed, drawing a thin layer of mist that reflected the already fading light from the sun. This ephemeral veil formed a more breathtaking sight as the sun's corona moved through the mist, forming an ethereal halo around the moon. All in all, the total solar eclipse of April 19th, 2024 was not a walk in the park. It was a confluence of extraordinary phenomena that captivated the senses and stirred the imagination. This rare but awe-inspiring event is a reminder of the beauty and complexity of our universe.